Hello, EP.
Today, today in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4NEWS, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarocar News, Bharat Post News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today's our topic is not only current but very relevant. And the topic is COVID-19 impact on NRIs. But before that, I would like to inform you that today we all are celebrating the birthday of our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Damodar Das Modi. Mr. Modi is born on 17 September 1950. He is the 14th and current Prime Minister of India since 2014. He was the Chief Minister of Gujarat from 2001 to 2014 and is the Member of Parliament from Varanasi. He is the first Prime Minister outside of the Indian National Congress to win 2 consecutive terms with a full majority and the second to complete more than 5 years in office after Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Media conference with Lal Goel extend heartiest birthday greetings to him. We are also, the world is observing today the World Patient Safety Day. World Patient Safety Day is observed annually on 17 September, aims to raise global awareness about patient safety and call for solidarity and united action for all countries and international partners to reduce patient harm. Patient safety focuses on preventing and reducing risks, error, and harm that happens to patients during the provision of health care. Each year is dedicated on a different theme. This year, World Patient Safety Day, that is on 17 September 2021, theme is Safe and Respectful Maternal and Newborn Care. Media conference with Lal Goel hopes that by observing this day, more awareness will be created for providing safe patient care. Today, it's also a very auspicious day because India is celebrating Vishwakarma Jayanti. Vishwakarma Jayanti is a day of celebration for Vishwakarma, a Hindu god, the divine architect. It falls on Kanya Sankranti of Hindu calendar. It is generally celebrated every year between 16 to 18 September. He is considered as Swambhu and creator of the world. He constructed the holy city of Dwarka, where Krishna ruled, the palace of Indraprastha for the Pandavas, and was the creator of many fabulous weapons for the gods. He is also called the divine carpenter, is mentioned in the Rig Veda and is credited with Satapatya Veda, the science of mechanics and architecture. Media conference with Lal Goel wishes you a very happy Vishwakarma Day. Now coming to our main topic, that is COVID-19 impact on NRIs. Overseas Indians, officially known as non-resident Indians NRIs, or persons of Indian origin PIO or PIOs, are people of Indian birth, descent or origin who live outside the Republic of India. An non-resident Indian NRI is an Indian citizen who resides in India for less than 182 days during the course of the preceding financial year, or who has gone out of India or who stays outside India for the purpose of employment, or who has gone out of India or who stays outside India for carrying on business or vocation outside India, or who has gone out of India or who stays outside India for any other purpose, indicating his intention to stay outside India for an uncertain period. A person of Indian origin, PIO, means a foreign citizen except a national of Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, China, Iran, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, and or Nepal, who at any time held an Indian passport but not currently, or either of their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents were born and permanently resident in India as defined in Government of India Act 1935 and other territories, and became part of India thereafter, provided neither was at any time a citizen of any of the aforesaid countries or is a spouse of a citizen of India or a PIO. Overseas citizenship of India, commonly referred to as the OCI card. The Constitution of India does not permit full dual citizenship. The OCI card is effectively a long-term visa with restrictions on voting rights and government jobs. The card is available to certain PIOs, and while it affords holders residency and other rights, it does have restrictions and is not considered to be any type of Indian citizenship from a constitutional perspective. Indians command a dominant majority of the population Persian Gulf countries. After the 1970s oil boom in the Middle East, numerous Indians from Kerala emigrated, taking advantage of close historical ties with the Gulf, as well as the lack of ample skilled labor from nearby Africa and the Middle East. Major urban centers such as Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Doha, and Manama were experiencing a development boom, and thousands of Indians labored in construction industries. This work was done on a contractual basis rather than permanently, and working age men continued to return home every few years. This has remained the dominant pattern as the countries in the Persian Gulf, especially United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait, have a common policy of not naturalizing non-Arabs even if they are born there. The Persian Gulf region has provided incomes many times over for the same type of job in India and has geographically proximity to India, and these incomes are free of taxation. The NRIs make up a good proportion of the working class in the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC. NRI population in these GCC countries is estimated to be around 20 million, of which a quarter is resident in the United Arab Emirates, UAE. In 2005, about 75% of the population in the UAE was of Indian descent. The majority originate from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Karnataka, and Goa. Similarly, Indians are the single largest nationality in Qatar, representing around 85% of the total population as of 2014. They also form majorities in Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman. Since the early 2000s, significant number of Indians have reached the region, taking up high-skilled jobs in business and industry. Major Indian corporations maintain solid regional presence there, while some are headquartered there. There is a huge population of NRIs in West Asia, most coming from Kerala and Andhra Pradesh. They work as engineers, doctors, lawyers, laborers, and in clerical jobs. Unlike in Europe and America, most of the countries in West Asia do not grant citizenship or permanent residency to these Indians, however long they might live there. They have a minority in Saudi Arabia. The NRI population tends to save and remit considerable amounts to their dependents in India. India received over 83 billion US dollars in remittance in 2020, a drop of just 0.2% from the previous year, despite a pandemic that devastated the world economy, according to a World Bank report. The report said India's remittance fell by just 0.2% in 2020, with much of the decline due to a 17% drop in remittance from the United Arab Emirates, which offset resilient flows from the United States and other host countries. According to a Ministry of External Affairs report, there are 32 million NRIs and PIOs residing outside India. According to the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, India remains the largest country of origin for expatriates and immigrant communities. The United Arab Emirates has witnessed an exodus of long-term non-resident Indians, especially Malayalis, due to unforeseen impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. The Emirates' consequent economic setbacks, including a fear of the virus and falling job and financial security, threatened the survival of Indians, the largest expatriate demographic in the world and the Emirates. While apprehensive about their homeland's ability to accommodate a mass reverse migrants population, the reverse migrants still retain attributes and values they associate with migration to the Emirates. And to discuss this very, very important aspect and the point that COVID-19 impact on NRIs, we have a very elite, well-informed, and those who are authority in this particular thing are with us today. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and he is Dr. Putur Rahman. Dr. Putur Rahman is the president of Indian Social Club Fujairah, as well as he is also the president of UAE KMCC National Committee UAE. Welcome, Dr. Putur Rahman, on our show. Dr. Putur Rahman, we would like to know your views on the COVID-19 impact on NRIs. Dr. Putur Rahman, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Walji. First of all, let me wish a happy birthday to our beloved Prime Minister, Modi ji. And let me introduce KMCC just for 1 minute. UAE KMCC has been actively present on the socio-cultural scene of UAE for the past 40 years. Having presence in all states of the country, Sharjah, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Ajman, Ras Al Khaimah, Umm Al Quwain, Al everywhere. KMCC has promoted the welfare of expatriate Indians through relief activities. More often, the organization has become a symbol for charity. Our main activities are in the areas of charity and cultural activities. UAE KMCC is one of the largest expatriate organizations in UAE. Whenever our community members need any help, they turn to KMCC. We become a beacon of hope for the people when mishap like death or loss of job, or like the COVID, as Sajeev knows very well. We had participated very actively in the COVID work. Like we arranged under 75 flights to take our Indians to all over, different part of India. 37,000 Pravasis, NRIs, we have taken from Dubai, UAE, in different Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Sharjah in different area to different area of our country. So like that, we are doing this, just a introduction for the KMCC. And we have not enough time, that's why I'm just making it short. And see now the impact made the COVID on the Pravasi, NRIs. It is very shortly I am talking, explaining to you about, see now, about more than 500 people lost their life in UAE. And lot of families, friends, they lost their parents, their friends, and that is the second thing. And other thing is job loss. More than 60,000 people lost their job according to the consulate. And also, we know reduction of the payment and benefit, and a lot of business already closed in UAE. Also, a lot of cases we are facing, we are getting a lot of calls from different people because they are in jail, because of the check bounce, they couldn't pay the rent properly, and they can't pay the rent for the shop. So that's why the debt due to job loss and business loss. So a lot of people are in trouble, and a lot of cases here, in a lot of people in this purpose, they're suffering. And the other things are very important in post-COVID complication. I am actually a victim of a post-COVID complication. Actually, I am talking to you from the hospital now. I am admitted in the hospital yesterday. I didn't call Sajeev and tell, because I want to participate in this function, in this program. That's why, I thought I can join with you from the hospital bed. I had COVID and become negative last week. But again, day before yesterday, I had a chest pain. So we found this infection. So this is what the doctor said. It is a post-COVID. It is happening. So I am under treatment. I'm okay now, and thank you. Thank to God. So this kind of things are happening for a lot of people for the post-COVID. So this is one of the very important things we had to be addressed, had to taking care. And a lot of people are suffering by depression, anxiety, stress, and loneliness. That also we have to, the government side also to take care about that. So the things what I want to share with you, the people who are in stress and depression, how we can at least to talk to them, or some kind of counseling they need from our side. Actually, I had a word with the consulate, CG, and ambassador to arrange something from the government side, to our people, to console them. So that is one of the important point we had to be addressed, is what I want to say. And that's all. So the COVID made a very huge problems for NRIs. So we are suffering, still suffering, but the good big things are, the social people here. There is no politics, no religion. They are always there to help each other. That is what is the good thing here to share with you. Thank you very much to give this opportunity. And if anything, I will join with you later if you want.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Putur Rahman, for giving your views. First of all, we wish you all very fast recovery, and we want that you should be get well soon, because as Dr. Putur Rahman has mentioned that he is suffering from post-COVID complexes, but he said that being the president of KMCC, which is an organization for last 40 years, during the COVID time, they organized 75 flights to different parts of India and tried to evacuate about 37,000 NRIs. And he says that COVID has impacted very badly in Gulf, especially in UAE. And he says about 60,000 people lost their jobs, businesses were closed, and because of that, the checks were bounced, litigation started, and many of the Indians have to go into the jail. So they are trying to fight all those things, and they are saying that how the post now, because of now it's a phase of post-COVID thing, how those who have already suffered from COVID financially as well as mentally, how to give them solace. So they are now in that phase that they are trying to see to it that whatsoever the remedy can be given to everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Putur Rahman, for giving your views. Definitely will come back to you in the next round. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is, he's there. He is Dr. E.P. Johnson. Dr. E.P. Johnson is the president of Indian Association, Sharjah, UAE. Dr. Johnson, welcome to our show. Dr. Johnson, although you have joined right now, but before that, Dr. Rahman has mentioned that the NRI suffered a lot because of the COVID. And so many Indians, NRIs have to lose their jobs and they have to be evacuated. So lots of litigations started. Now, you being the president of Indian Association, Sharjah, you might have come across all these problems and you might be coordinating with them. Definitely, we would like to know from you the COVID-19 impact on NRIs. Dr. E.P. Johnson, please. Can you just turn your mobile in a horizontal position? Yes, please. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting for this function, and thank you very much to Mr. Sajeev also to give me an opportunity to discuss about all these things. And my brother, my friend, Mr. Putur Rahman has already talked about the main issues here, I hope. And definitely, he is totally involved in the matter of the poor people and the community. Here, the issue, what I have to say, the Indians are suffering a lot. Lot means in the sense, from the beginning, I can say from the fees structure, for example, unable to pay the fees, so many students are out of the classes. From there, I have to start. I don't want to prolong the speech, but still, when I am sitting in the office, more than 150 people are coming daily to meet me because of several issues. As Mr. Puthuraman mentioned about the business laws, job laws, litigations, etc., etc. Here, what I was facing, a small thing, starting from the small thing about the fees, unable to pay the fees, 6 months, 4 months, more than 1 year, because of the loss of both parents or one parent, maybe. It's one side. The rental issue is another side. The visa expiry is another side. The visa renewal, the fines for the visa issues are another thing. Like that, so many issues. Another issue, when we are going to India and stranded there, when they are coming back, always we were talking about the RT-PCR test issues also. When I was there last week in India, I took RT-PCR outside 500 dirhams. When I reached to Cochin airport, I have paid 2,500 dirhams, rupees. So after I have gone to India for 1 week only, but other people were stranded there more than 6 months or 7 months or something like that. When they're coming back, they don't have anything. They don't have anything in their purse or pockets. But from there, one family, for example, 4 people or 5 people, from there will pay. I wrote a letter to the central ministry and state ministries also. No reply yet. This is one issue for the this expatriates. Another one who lost their lives. Lot of the people lost their lives. They are not getting anything since they are expatriates. When they are in India, they are getting it. But since they are expatriates, they are not getting anything. So the family is suffering like hell. That's another one. So here, what we are facing is the main issue: the loss of the jobs, the fee payments for the schools, the rental payment for the fee, the rental payments, and the visa issues. Altogether, the expatriates are suffering. So I don't know what is the outcome of this one, but I hope we can do a lot together. If we can, shoulder to shoulder, hand to hand, we can do a lot. Maybe from this meeting itself, we can come out with some solutions. I don't know what is it, but I can join with you again, or maybe I can write it to you in a detailed way, what we can do and to the community. I think for time being, I will stop my discussion right now. But once again, I am reiterating these points: to pay the fees for the students in the university or schools. They are losing their classes. Second, the rental issues, the losing of the jobs, the visa issues. These are the main thing we are facing. And finally, since long time, we were talking about the repatriation of the human remains to India. You know, the Bangladeshis, Pakistanis, and other countries also taking the human remains free of cost. But we, as Indian, we are paying weight-wise, and a lot of, almost 8,000 dirhams we had to pay. So please, sir, consider that issue as a major issue. Thank you very much, sir, for inviting this one. And special thanks to Mr. Saji.
Thank you very much, Dr. Johnson, for giving your views. We will come back to you again in the next round. But what he has mentioned, with full, I must say, with agony and pain, he says that the condition is bad because of the COVID. So many students are facing problem because they cannot pay the fees. Either they have lost both the parents or one parent, and because of no income, and they are outside the college or the schools because of not paying the fees, no rental payments, job loss, and litigations. And he says that because he is being the president of Association Sharjah, he's been visited by almost more than 150, 200 people every day for their complaints, how to solve the problems. And he has also mentioned about the one more problem is the visa is expiring and they have to pay the penalties. One very important point which he has raised is about the RT-PCR test, the charges. Yes, this is a very, very difficult time, and the laboratories are charging extraordinarily high in private organizations, although the government of India has now fixed up a rate of 800 rupees, but practically everyone is trying to take out the flash, and they charge more and more money. So he says a person, if it's a family of 4 persons, if they have to pay so much money in different places, first outside, then again at the airport, it's not easy. And one more point which he says is that if any India died due to the COVID, they are getting compensation. But if an NRI is dying there, they are not getting any compensation because they says you are an NRI, you are not in India in that way. So all these things. And lastly, he has raised one very important point is that it's human remains which are going back to the India from the UAE, they are charging hell of out of money, while other countries, including Bangladesh and Pakistan, they are not charging. It's free of cost. That is something which I am sure the government has to take action, which can be done because after all, they all are the NRIs are nothing, but they all are us. They belongs to us, we belongs to them. And that type of spirit we must have. Thank you very much, Dr. Johnson, for giving your views. Definitely, whatsoever we can do and how we can pass to the government, definitely we'll try our best, but we will come back to you in the next round. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Miss Vinita Hariharan. Miss Vinita Hariharan is the national level public policy expert. She is the Chief of Program, Ministry of MSME, Government of India. Miss Vinita has had an illustrious academic journey and an exemplary professional and public life. An alumnus of the prestigious School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, she worked for a decade in leading private and public sectors of the country. At this juncture, driven by the aim of donning the hat of a decision maker from an implementer, she pursued her mid-career master's in public administration from the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, National University of Singapore, on a scholarship from the Singapore government. This proved to be a game changer as she gained wide international perspective in policy making. Post this, she has been with various multilateral and bilateral agencies with the Government of India, where she designed national policies and led the implementation of several flagship programs of Government of India in the domain of rural, urban, and livelihoods. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Urban Mission, formalization of micro enterprises being some of the key flagship programs designed by her. She is currently with the Ministry of MSME as Chief of Programs, handling externally aided missions. Ms. Vinita is a public speaker and a thought leader in diverse issues of nation building. She is on the board of studies of leading global institutes and a mentor to social foundations that work towards empowering women and the girl child. Ms. Vinita was recently given the Woman of Excellence Award from the Indian Achievers Forum for her outstanding contribution to the field despite all hurdles. Welcome, Ms. Vinita Hariharan, on our show. Ms. Vinita, you have heard what Dr. Putur Rahman as well as what Dr. E.P. Johnson has mentioned. And they mentioned with full of agony, pain, the reality, what is happening. Although from India, we feel that the NRIs or those who are residing abroad are enjoying the life because the COVID is not much affecting there. They have been vaccinated. So much vaccination has been already done. But we forget that their life is very, very tough nowadays because of the COVID. Now, we would like to know, because you are in one way, you are also on the side or the representing the government of India, and you are in the policy making, and you are a policy expert, public policy expert. So we would like to know from you your views on COVID-19 impact on NRIs. Ms. Vinita Hariharan, please. Please unmute.
Thank you, Lal Goelji. It's always a pleasure to be on your show, and a really remarkable endeavor on your side to bring in talks with socially relevant talks. This is such a high frequency. I think hats off to you for that, and thank you all my co-panelists, especially Sajeev for calling me here, inviting me here, and it's indeed an honor to share the panel with Putur Rahman ji and E.P. Johnson. And of course, we'll be joined in by Dr. Anand Bose also, who's been a mentor and a guide to me in several junctures. Thank you very much. And at this occasion, I would like to also give my heartiest wishes to our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, who is celebrating his birthday today. So it's indeed, a very honorable occasion today to also talk about his policies and philosophies towards NRIs and how proactive this government has been to attract investments from abroad, which is also going to be playing a very substantial role in our journey towards a 5 trillion economy. As we all know, our PM's vision is also to bring in more and more investments from abroad into our country. And at this juncture, we should also take cognizance of the contribution that NRIs have been doing till now, especially in India, where in 2018, the World Bank has estimated that India had the largest remittances in the world, which was about $79 billion, which was the highest in the world, followed by China and Mexico. And this contributed almost 23% of our foreign exchange, the remittances alone. So it's a significant role that the NRIs play in our economy, and especially in some states like Kerala, it's contributing to almost 35% of the economy of the state of Kerala. So therefore, there are a lot of initiatives that several governments have taken. The state of Kerala has also taken several schemes. They've brought in several forward-looking schemes for the welfare of the NRIs, and of course, the government of India has also taken several measures to facilitate the well-being of NRIs, which is like, first of all, in terms of attracting more FDI into the country. We've been doing a lot of proactive policies and measures taken by the government of India to bring in more and more FDI into the country, and to ease out the regulations as far as investments in the country is concerned. That is one, of course, a macro level initiative. Apart from that, several micro level initiatives have been taken by the Ministry of External Affairs, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, when we've all seen the display of the government of India in the Vande Bharat missions, which almost 22 lakh passengers were brought in, and 15 lakh were taken out of the country. So that was a huge, display of support by the government towards NRIs. That was the emergency reactive measure which the government could take at that point of time. Apart from that, ever since, there have been a lot of digital platforms that have been established by the Ministry of External Affairs, like the Swadesh portal, which is in collaboration with the Skills Development Ministry to actually map out the skills of the workers, the low-level skilled workers who are coming into India, and to see how they can be gainfully employed in the country. That is Swadesh. And then there is Rishta portal, where it's a platform where all NRIs can connect with each other. That's another portal which the MEA has brought in. Apart from that, MEA has also several welfare measures for the expats in their countries, respective countries, for the consulates. There's welfare fund, emergency welfare fund, which is given to various countries for use for such emergency causes. And apart from that, there are also scholarships given by the Ministry of External Affairs for the diaspora children. So these are some of these small measures that are taken by the Ministry of External Affairs. Apart from that, there's also, like I said, there's a macro level thrust by the government of India to encourage investments, and the Invest India, which is a public-private partnership venture by the government of India, is a special purpose vehicle, specially designed to bring in investments from other countries. So there's this portal called invest.gov.in, which gives in all the latest information on the policies towards FDIs, for promoting FDIs in India. So notwithstanding that, we should also take cognizance of the huge inflow of NRIs into our country. And since they have been doing a lot of their work, and their contribution to India's economy is well understood, therefore, so I think a lot more also can be done in terms of facilitating their entry back into our country, and to also kind of help them resettle in our country in terms of giving them more hand-holding for investment opportunities in our country, especially for the state of Kerala, where I've always been promoting this concept, the favorite concept of Modi ji, of local to global, wherein he would like to promote local products in every district or every Gram Panchayat in our country. So like we've seen, giving the due benefit to our neighboring countries of China, where they've done remarkable efforts in poverty alleviation. So that's a case study which we can actually replicate in our country, where the Premier had this vision of poverty alleviation by bringing in back the NRI investments back to their country and to the village of their origin, choosing NRIs from various villages who would like to come back and invest in their villages by identifying one traditional resource which they can scale up, which they can first identify and then scale it up and make it into an MSME. And while also bringing in local stakeholders' participation, like the local government will bring in the infrastructure, while the state government brings in larger level forward-looking policies to encourage these investments, and the national government, of course, tapping into the various schemes of the national government. So that can be very well replicated in our country, and we're also doing that with the ODOP, or the One District, One Product programs, which is being disseminated across the country. So the NRIs can play a vital role in this particular program, those NRIs who want to come back and invest and resettle in our country. So for those NRIs, I think this investment opportunity can be scaled up. And also tapping into the various programs of the government of India towards promotion of MSMEs, and also in the cooperative sector, there are a lot of funds and soft loans being given for investments in small-scale enterprises in the country. So the thrust of the policies of the government of India today is to promote MSMEs, and of course, first is to redress their challenges and also to promote new MSMEs coming into the country. So I think on this philosophy, we can actually handhold the NRIs who want to come back and invest in India. So that can be a huge movement, I think, in India, wherein we bring back our NRIs with a lot of respect and hand-holding to our country and help them reinvest in our country. So I think the MEA, the Ministry of External Affairs, can actually open up a window for this. They have done small measures, but it's a large-scale measure. We can open up a huge program or a scheme or a window for reinvestment or for resettlement of the NRIs back into our countries. So I think these are some of the thoughts that I wanted to share. And of course, also about the pandemic itself. So there have been a lot of research papers that have come out which speak about the substantial impact that migration has on actually scaling up pandemics. So this has to be done very carefully. The migration back to various countries by various people. So that the entire migratory framework, even the United Nations is working on easing out migration back to countries of origin, especially in the light of pandemics. So in that regard, I would also like to highlight the government of India's efforts towards strengthening our health infrastructure at the primary, secondary and tertiary levels. So there also the recent announcements by the government of India, the union budget, promotes a lot of public-private partnership in health infrastructure in the country. So that's another area where the investments of the NRIs can be plowed in to invest in our health infrastructure. And also for those professionals who want to come back, there's a lot of need for doctors and paramedical staff in various levels of our health infrastructure at the rural, urban, and at the block, district, and the state level. So that's another area. And of course, states like Kerala, which is very, very, where 35% of the economy of Kerala is contributed by NRIs, and we have a substantial part of our population belonging to the, who are NRIs. So there needs to be special infrastructure, health infrastructure, especially in times of COVID-19 pandemic-like situations, created for migratory population. And this is not just a reactive measure that needs to be taken on an exigency basis. There needs to be a long-term planning for influx of migrants, especially in states like Kerala, and accordingly create health infrastructure for these migrants. And it could be, facilities which can be doubled up during such pandemics for catering to the migrant population. So these are some of the thoughts that I would like to share, Ria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Vinita Hariharan, for giving your views. And Ms. Vinita has described how the government of India is proactively involved in the problems and solving the problems of the NRIs who are because of those who have faced during the COVID. And she says that first thing she mentioned about the Vande Bharat mission, she says almost more than 22 lakh people were brought back to India during the COVID time. And this shows that how sympathetic Indian government is for our NRIs, as well as she says about the FDIs. The government is always active, proactive, so that the FDIs can come to the government and to the country. And she also mentioned about some portals like Swadesh portal or Rishta portals, which connect the NRIs, which can connect them what is happening to the country and what advantages they can get. She mentioned about the scholarships which will be given to those students who have come back to India because of the COVID time and they could not go back. She also mentioned about the resettlement of NRIs. She says that the Prime Minister has given this about the vocal for local, and that is basically for those NRIs who wants to come back to India and they want to start to connect themselves with their own village or the city. They can start something on a small or large scale, and they say the government is ready to give the loans from the MSMEs or to promote the MSMEs on a small scale industries, etc. She also mentioned that the ODOP, the one district, one product, can be identified so that NRIs can take the advantage of that. She also mentioned that now the government is thinking to start, rather they have started open already a small window, but it has to be a large window for the resettlement of NRIs who wish to come back to India and want to be settled in India. She also mentioned that there's lots of needs for the professionals like medical, doctors, etc. So if NRIs who wants to come back to India and those who are qualified, they can be taken in the jobs here. And because she says that in the Kerala, about 35 or more than 35% income is from the NRIs. And so lots of schemes are there, which the government of India is doing so that the NRIs should not feel that they are not belonging to this country, and wherever they are, government is always thinking for them. Thank you very much, Ms. Vinita Hariharan, for giving your views from the government side. I will say from the what policies are taking place and what decisions have been taking place and what is going to take place. Thank you very much. I will definitely come back to you. I know that you have to catch a flight, so I will try to take. Why not? What I will do, I will take a question with you right now. Mr. Sajeev, is it okay now with you? So that because she has to take a flight.
Absolutely fine. Absolutely. I understand that she has to travel.
Yeah. So my question to you is, Ms. Vinitaji, we are only looking from the remittance from NRIs. We are very happy that NRIs are sending funds to us. We welcome them with folded hands, with red carpet. But when the crisis came, today you have heard two panelists, and they are not a small persons. They are holding such a big position. They are telling the real pains and agony. Who is lacking? The central government state government or the civil society. Why we are not giving them the position? They are from us. They are not from somewhere else. And they have basically, if you see the country's development, we must give credit to them. How much money they are giving? 35% of a state total economy is run by them. And during the COVID, we have seen, and still, as one of the panelists mentioned about the RT-PCR test, how much they are charging and how much pain and agony NRI is facing. Can't we do something for that? You are in that position. If you will suggest something, I am sure our Honorable Prime Minister is very active in this. If we'll get a proper proposal, why not use some? What is your opinion about this? What they have said? I just want to ask you this only. Thank you very much. Please.
Yes, absolutely. Mr. Johnson had also mentioned this in another forum earlier, and we had actually collated all this and given the representation to the Ministry of External Affairs. But of course, we understand there are challenges when in such a large global pandemic of such a huge scale, the government of India has done its bit in terms of, providing macro level large support measures like the Vande Bharat missions, etc. But in terms of these small, I wouldn't say small, but these important, small time challenges, we need to definitely open up a grievance redressal window, perhaps in the MEA, which would take care of all of these issues. And like last time also I mentioned that we are taking this up with the Ministry of External Affairs, because they wouldn't actually know unless, this is highlighted and brought up to their notice. And it's not that the intent of the government is not there to support. The intent is very well displayed through the large scale welfare measures that have been taken. But but these small or these kind of significant and small challenges would definitely be taken up. And I think this needs, like I said, there needs to be a larger window in the MEA, perhaps to look at all these resettlement issues of the NRIs, especially in this challenging times of the COVID-19.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Vinita Aryan, for giving, I will say right now it's assurance, unless we will not see it. Definitely, at least I am going to catch you up again in some other media conference when I am going to remind you again, because after all, they are our own. And if they are facing problem, I can understand there are lots of limitations. The government is doing lots of things. And today we are going to have a record vaccination in India. It's not easy thing to cross 1 crore marks, which we are planning. The target is on the birth date of our Honorable Prime Minister. But still, whether we will be able to give that assurance to our NRIs who were backbone for us, and today they are facing lots of problems. But I am sure when you have given such type of assurance, and I know that you are not only talking, you always do something. Your background, your track record says, so we are sure that you will do. Thank you very much, Ms. Vinita. If you will be there, I will be coming back to you again. We will see, because you have given me time limit up to 11:40, so the time is there. Thank you very much. Now I would like to go to our next panelist guest, and he is Mr. Sajeev Purushottam. Mr. Sajeev is the founder of Indo-Arab Business Leaders Forum. He is the former IPF Media Convener Dubai. He is the former BJP NRI Cell State Committee member. And he is also the National Organization Secretary, Bharatiya Samskriti Foundation. Welcome, Mr. Sajeev, on our show. Mr. Sajeev, you have heard two very strong voices from the Dr. Rahman as well as Dr. Johnson. And you have also heard a very, very strong voice of Ms. Vinita Hariharan, giving the assurance, complete assurance. But you being in Dubai, and you are involved with so many cultural activities as well as in the business forum, we would like to know your views on the COVID-19 impact on NRIs. Mr. Sajeev Purushottam, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal Goel, and thank you for arranging this wonderful show. In fact, this is indeed very imperative this point of time. NRIs and related problems in the pandemic. As you mentioned, and others, my friends, Putur Rahman ji and EP Johnson ji and Vinita ji mentioned, there are problems. There are a number of problems like job loss, business loss, and it is a pandemic, unprecedented pandemic and beyond the expectation. So government has a lot of Vande Bharat mission. We were all part of Vande Bharat mission. So there are problems. So before going to the problems, my warm wishes for our Honorable Prime Minister, and I wish our Prime Minister will be there for a long time and serving us. And so we wish him a warm health and to serve the country. As you said, UAE represent actually the 3.5 million NRIs of the total population here, and 1.5 million is Keralites. So as Vinitha ji said, 35% of the GDP of the Kerala state comes from the NRIs. We remittance around $75 billion every year. And the job, number of developments, everything. Even if you look at Kerala state, the entire development and everything is crafted by the NRIs. Hardly you found some Technopark and Kitex and V-Guard and small industries. They are facing a lot of problems. I don't like to go to the politics of that, but I would like to be a consolidator in this platform, because Puthur KMCC has done number of efforts to repatriate and facilitate the COVID pandemic efforts. I know personally, I'm aware that because the 75 flights have been chartered to take all the NRIs to Kerala, and the EP Johnson has done a number of, even personally reached out to him to waive off some of the school fees in the his 2 schools. And Vinitha ji also, I have reached out here for the what are the policies we can extend to the NRIs. So in fact I expect Anand Bose sir also for the discussion on this. I would like to be a consolidator, because there are problems and there are policies, there are platforms we can address it. But now NRIs and NRI organizations are not consolidated. They work like a solo. You have KMCC, you have Sharjah Association, you have IPF, and you have a Bharatiya Pravasi Parishad in Kuwait. Thousands of organizations, but these organizations are not consolidated and collaborated. If had they done it during the pandemic or before that, then we could have done it in a different way. Because even Vande Bharat mission, we, including Sharjah Indian Association, KMCC, other organization escalated to Honorable Anand Bose sir, and he had escalated to different competent authority, and eventually it had happened. So I would like to, even request Vinitha ji, because she is very closely connected to the ministry, External Affairs Ministry and all. We need to consolidate all these organizations, and we need to have a NRI, welfare mission or a board in the national level and represent it, because it is very important. We have a minister's External Affairs Minister, but that is on a diplomatic level. We have 3 million NRIs in UAE, and we have 80 or 200 people in embassy and consulate together. They are not able to fulfill or address the requirements of NRI. So we need a ministry or a mission or a board to address the NRIs, because it's a 28 to 30 million NRIs globally, and we contribute to the economy in a reasonable way. So I request Vinitha ji to take it up with the ministry, and maybe as EP Johnson said, let's be we consolidate all the organizations, including KMCC, including Sharjah Association, IPF, all organizations. I would recall Anand Bose sir, some national MP schemes where we can represent the MPs in the parliament, national MPs. So maybe that would address eventually, or the NRI's problems. So this kind of, so I would like to be a consolidator. I know the problems, as everybody said, there are problems, number of problems, and every sector, every community, every business sector, everywhere it is being affected. There is no community or a vertical, it has not been affected. So we need to consolidate. It is high time. I mean, it is not the last pandemic or last issue we are going to face. There will be issues. So let's consolidate. Let's have a platform. Let's take it into the next level post COVID, maybe efforts or whatever you call it. So I request everybody, and including, let's not stop in this platform. So I thank you, Lal Goel ji, for taking this platform to consolidate all of us, and definitely we will come back to you with a larger picture of the organization, larger organization society. So that's all from my side, and definitely there are. So I would like to congratulate Vinitha. That's an eloquent speech. You have pointed out number of efforts from Government of India. Maybe Johnson and Puthuraman can make use of Srinida's knowledge for a wider perspective for the NRI community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sajeev, for giving your views. And very important point which Mr. Sajeev has mentioned is that there are thousands of associations working in UAE in different level. But if they would have coordinated uniformly, they would have come together, then the scenario during the COVID would have changed. But still, they have tried their best on their own levels. But now talks are going on that they should all coordinate and try to come as a one, and then they can be a more forcible force to negotiate with the governments as well as to see to for the welfare of the citizens, the NRIs. One more very important point he has mentioned is he says that there should be there are so many millions NRIs in Gulf, but there are only 200 approximately people are working there. He said either there should be a ministry separately for NRIs or a mission so that they can look after only for NRIs, because foreign ministry is looking after so many things, but for NRIs welfare, a separate ministry or a mission should be there, so that at least the welfare of NRIs. And he has also mentioned about the MP, virtual MP for the parliament, which Dr. C.V. Anand Bose has proposed in his report submitted to Honorable Prime Minister. Let's hope that that will come to the reality once the delimitation of the parliament will take place soon, when it will definitely, the MP will be representing virtually from the experts or those NRIs, and definitely then their problems can be raised on the platform of the parliament, because right now what is happening that the MPs, the NRIs, if they are casting their votes, they are electing the MP, but they have so many other things to see for the district. They are not bothered for the NRI. It's not a big junk for a particular city or a district, but it's a big junk when we are taking them consolidated at one country or one GCC or whatnot. So that already is there. Let's hope Dr. Anand will join soon and he will be able to give more replies. But now my question goes to Dr. Puttur. Dr. Puttur, you are there? Yes. Dr. Puttur, now when UAE is open, we have seen from 1st September, they are welcoming Indians, and now IPL is taking place. Dubai Expo is taking place from 1st of October, and they are welcoming all Indians and all others. What about those who lost their jobs? What about those who have closed their businesses? Is the UAE government or the organizations like yours are also proactive to see to it that they will be resettled back, because if they want to come back? What do you say about that?
Yes, it is a very important question actually. See, we organization, all the organization, KMCC and Indian Association and all association, we are very strongly, we are doing to help our community, okay? I want to, before I start that, I want to underline the words what Mr. Sajeev quoted here for the ministry. Earlier, we had a Pravasi ministry, but after the Modi ji government, they removed that ministry. But there was no any problem so far. But after the COVID, only we are suffering a lot. So we realize we need this kind of ministry or board or something to address to the NRI. So that is very important things actually. See now, Mr. Johnson explained about the school fees of the children, because Sharjah Indian Association, they are running a own school called Indian School, okay? So he knew better than any other people what people are suffering, how they are unable to pay the rent, the fees, and the people are in trouble. A lot of parents are calling and said, we didn't get our TC transfer certificate from the school because we couldn't pay the school fees. So please help us. But we have every organization, we have a limit to help this kind of financial help. So we are actually approaching the Indian consulate and embassy. They don't have any provision to help this kind of help for the students. So that is also, we had to be, the government should care about that. And, now most of the small shops, okay, we can say here more than 20,000 small canteens, or we can say cafeterias and small cafes. This all closed down, okay? So that is very difficult to help them to bring again, to come up again, because that is only the government, the central government can do something, but that also a big burden for the government. I don't know, still I don't have any answer for that actually, because I know myself, my country people, my village people, more than 20-25 people, they recently closed down the shop, and the poor people, they left the UAE. How we can help them, I don't know. That we have to coordinate together and talk about that and discuss about that. And see now, the NRIs, they are very helpful people, coordinated, and they are very united, especially in this kind of thing. See, now the COVID is part of life become now. So we are not bothered about the COVID, okay? But earlier, the last June, people are in the panic, okay? They are running there and there. The government doesn't have enough hospital. So the NRIs, they themselves arranged, the quarantine center, the hospital themselves, they, the 25, 26 buildings they rented, they took, and they furnished, and they given to the government to make the hospital and for the quarantine purpose as well. So KFCC, the other all organizations participated and helped for this purpose. So we are always helping each other. We now under 75 flight we charted, under 75. We charted, and 37,000 people, we, KMCC, themselves, ourselves, we sent to, the people to India. But the same way, all organizations, not only KMCC, all organizations did their best to do that. More than, 90,000 people have been taken from UAE to do the COVID time. So we are here to help each other. There's no doubt at all. But as you asked the question, how we can help this kind of people who lost the job, who lost the business, that is a very big question actually. We don't have any proper answer for that. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Rahman, for giving your answer. And you have admitted that there's no answer for that, how they will be settled. Now we have our Dr. C.V. Anand Bose with us. So I would like to invite my next guest, and he's Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS. Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS is one-man expert commission on labor to prepare an action plan for the welfare and development of the workforce in the context of COVID-19. He is also the principal advisor, Government of India Heritage Project. He was former head of disaster management, Government of India, and Central Drought Relief Commissioner, Government of India. He was the Vice Chancellor of National Museum, University of Delhi. He has authored 40 books in English, Malayalam, and Hindi, including novels, short stories, and essays. 4 of his books have become bestsellers. 4 books on Vastu and architecture, and 1 book on housing received prestigious the Sharjah International Book Fair Award. Dr. Bose is an housing expert, innovator, writer, orator, and visionary. The path-breaking institutions set up by him, such as Nimriti Kendra, Building Center, District Tourism Council, and Habitat Alliance, have been replicated at the state, national, and global level. He was the head of the prestigious Supreme Court Committee on the Treasures of Sri Padmavaswamy Temple. Dr. Bose addressed United Nations General Assembly and specialized sessions 5 times on various international issues. Dr. Bose is a recipient of 31 national and international awards, including United Nations Global Best Practice Award. He also received prestigious Jawaharlal Nehru Fellowship. Kerala government termed him Lord of Ideas. Former Prime Minister Mr. Manmohan Singh called him inspired civil servant, and our Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi called him Man of Ideas. Welcome, Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS, on our show. We understand today being a very, very auspicious day, as well as we all are celebrating Vishwakarma Day, as well as our Honorable Prime Minister's birthday, Mr. Modi's birthday. So you are so busy in the morning time, but better late than never. We have discussed about the COVID-19 impact on NRIs. The views raised by Dr. Rahman and Dr. Johnson, as well as Dr. Mr. Sajeev and Ms. Vinita are, I will not say Ms. Vinita because she has given the, from the government side, she has tried to give the reply, but these three have raised that the problems which NRIs are facing, still they are facing, are many folds. One is about the fees. The students can't pay the fees because of the either one or both the parents have died. The job losses, the business have closed, and when they are coming to India, they can't see any future. And as well as when they are going, they say the RT-PCR rates are so high, and if a family is traveling, so many issues they have raised. Mr. Sajeev has raised a point. He wants that a separate ministry of this thing, NRIs to be there instead of a foreign minister, because foreign minister has to see so many things. So many things have been discussed. But you, being the person who has been closely associated and about the Vande Bharat mission, you were the pioneer who have started that Vande Bharat mission, as well as you have recommended about the virtual MP for the Member of Parliament for the NRIs. So we would like to know your views on COVID-19 impact on NRIs. Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. And I really apologize for coming late. I know we are with the Pravasi friends who have done a lot for the reconstruction and development of this country. And also the remittance which you receive from them is really having a definite impact on the economy of India, particularly of states like Kerala. I remember with gratitude the number of discussions which I was privileged to have with the Pravasis, particularly those three distinguished members who are participating in this meeting. They really gave a lot of ideas. Those ideas stemmed from their first-hand knowledge about the pulse of the people who are staying abroad, particularly in the GCC countries. There was a time when there was a lot of frustration among our Pravasi friends, that is before the Vande Bharat mission was launched. There was nobody to listen to them. That was a feeling at that time. But India could tide over all these things. And the Pravasis took a lot of initiative in solving the problems at their own end. I could hear Mr. Rahman here saying about 175 or so chartered flights which came to India at their own initiative. Now there are a lot of problems which they are facing. They had presented it in the earlier meetings also. I can say with pardonable pride that in the report of the one-man commission on labor, many recommendations have been given to the government of India addressing the felt needs of the Pravasis. I thank each and every member of this group, this panel, who have really contributed their insightful suggestions to the report. I would like to bring to your attention the important recommendations which are already with the government of India about the Pravasis. Number one, there should be a national registry of the returning Pravasis with a skill mapping. We should know who is coming to India and with what great skills they are here. Secondly, it is proposed to set up a special purpose vehicle where the small investment from the returning Pravasis can be pulled together and invested in successful ventures. A third recommendation is to set up a special economic zone for the promotion of Pravasi investment. We know that when the Pravasis return to India, particularly states like Kerala, they face a lot of exploitative tendencies from the government and also from the public. There are also instances of suicides by the frustrated investors who return from abroad. Such things should never happen. We should make the state and the states of India a safe place for investment by the Pravasis. Therefore, a protected zone, special economic zone, is proposed for the Pravasi investors. Another one is the establishment of a national board for the development of Pravasis. A national level high power board sufficiently financed to take care of the welfare needs of the Pravasis. Then global villages. We know the Pravasis are toiled hard, and their basic objective is to see that their next generation is groomed up in the proper way. When they are forced to return to India, either because the parents have died or the parents have lost their job, there should not be a state where they have to settle for schools of lesser quality. They should be able to enjoy the same quality of life which they had abroad. Therefore, the proposal to set up global villages with excellent institutions in the educational sector and in healthcare. You know, this is a passing phase. Remigration has started because of the impact of COVID, but return migration, remigration is there. See, the Pravasis who are returning to India, they have a great treasure house of experience with them. They have worked in multinational, intercultural context, multilingual, multicultural, multinational context. That is a great experience which the corporates are looking for. They have to train, retrained and multi-trained, skilled and multi-skilled, so that they are fit enough to take up the employment opportunities in the world market. Therefore, there is a proposal to set up an overseas employment exchange to support the returning Pravasis for remigration. Then the immediate requirement. See, many of the Pravasis, all the Pravasis are not rich. That's a fallacy. There are a lot of people who are returning to India, penniless. Immediately, the nation and the states have to provide an assured basic income, at least for 6 months, so that they have something to lay back upon. One problem which the Pravasis are facing are the non-cooperation from our embassies. All these panelists have individually raised it on earlier occasions. And also, it's a complaint from many of the Pravasis getting adequate support from the embassies. Therefore, it is proposed to have a people-friendly embassy under the Prime Minister's Karma Yogi program. We should also reorient the staff in the embassies, and special cell has to be created, which will listen to the grievances of the Pravasis then and there, interact with the local governments, and solve their problems without delay. And when they come to India, at the Panchayat level, the Panchayat Raj institutions should be empowered to set up utility centers where the experience of the returning Pravasis as plumbers, electricians, and various trades can be made use of for the society, and it can be an income-generating economic development activity for them. One major momentous recommendation, which is stemmed from the discussions with the panelists earlier, these panelists and also panelists from other countries, is that there should be adequate representation for the Pravasis in the Indian Parliament, the assemblies, and the democratic institutions. Therefore, it is proposed to have virtual constituencies, depending on the number of Pravasis in each country. Constituencies have to be created, voting has to be online, and the embassies have to coordinate so that we have the scope of representing at least 8 Pravasis in the Indian Parliament. This should be extended to the state legislatures as well, and also to the Panchayat Raj institutions. A comprehensive view to empower the Pravasis and to see that they have a feeling the nation is with them wherever they are. An Indian is an Indian, whether he is abroad or here. India is committed to protect the interests of the Pravasis. A reorientation is required, and it's a very welcome suggestion. I hope the authorities will accept it. Yes, there needs to be a separate ministry to take care of the Pravasis, because External Affairs is a larger ministry. Of course, we have a very efficient External Affairs Minister now in Jaishankar, but we should have a separate ministry to take care of the requirements of the Pravasis. Now, India has a duty to take care of its citizens. We should not forget that this nation's economy was propped up by the sweat and blood of the Pravasis. When they are in a crisis, the nation has a duty to protect them. I'm sure that many of the recommendations which has come from this meeting will also find a place in the files of government, and I hope immediate action will be taken. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. C.V. Anandos, IAS. And as always, you are very articulate, as well as you have given a real picture, because we all are in the dark many times. We don't know what is happening on the government front, but you have given how the recommendations have gone. Only thing is now, once they will be accepted, so many changes can come, which I'm sure will be definitely in line, and it will be done. Thank you very much, Dr. Bose. I will be coming back to you after some time. My question now goes to Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson, are you there? Dr. Johnson, can you hear me? Dr. Johnson? I think Dr. Johnson.
Unmute.
Dr. Johnson, please unmute yourself. And no, I think he's busy. Okay, no problem. Once he will be there, then I will ask this question to him. Now my question goes to Mr. Sajeev. Mr. Sajeev, you are talking about that all the things. I think Dr. Johnson, are you there? Can you listen me now? Dr. Johnson? No. So, Mr. Sajeev, you have mentioned about that those all the associations there, they are working separately and they should come together. But only thing is, because your associations are generally which are having their field in the Gulf countries and abroad. But why not you also involve international NGOs like Rotary, like Lions Club, those, and then see to it that at least everyone can take care of those NRIs families who are in India, like a state in Kerala. So at least they can be taken care. Like one of the panelists mentioned about how the problems they are facing about the RT-PCR cost or the money face. At least once if those organizations, international organizations which are in UAE as well as in India, if they collaborate along with your organizations, definitely they will take care of those who are going back or who are facing problems till the government of India will give them support, or the government of Kerala will give them support. At least for that time, they should not suffer and no one should commit suicide. What do you say about this, Mr. Sajeev?
Absolutely, Mr. Goel. What you said is right, but I would like to add more on that. Before that, my warm regards to Dr. Anandos sir on this occasion of the Prime Minister's birthday. So thank you for his contribution. He has done a lot of efforts during the pandemic time, since we have done number of webinars and also thanks for all the efforts. So coming back to your question, yes, definitely we need to consolidate all the organizations. In UAE itself, you might see that 100 organizations. I'm not talking the small organizations, the large organizations, and other countries like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, everywhere there are. Apart from this, yes, US, European countries and Far East, definitely there are organizations, but every organization has got interest, maybe a vested interest, maybe some other interest. So whoever is complementing our welfare of the NRIs, definitely we would like to consolidate. And I seek this advice on this advice from Anandos sir also, because there was a welfare mission he had recommended to Government of India. So on this occasion, organization, maybe we can take a decision or a plan in during the course of this pandemic to consolidate and take it forward to our Honorable Prime Minister and other ministries to take the programs, Prime Minister's programs to the NRIs in a macro level, not on a solo level, each organization. So macro level maybe ministry for the NRIs would be an appropriate suggestion, and that is imperative at this moment. So definitely I agree with you what you said, Goel.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sajeev. Dr. Johnson, can you hear me? Please unmute. Please unmute.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Johnson, my question to you is, this pandemic, definitely it was unfortunate and nobody was expecting it. But we cannot now discount that such type of things will not come again and again. Are you planning, as a president of IAS and other your organizations, to create some emergency fund along with the support with the government of India, where you will all be contributing and make a complete emergency fund and place it either in India or wherever you will get more interest, so that whenever such type of situation comes in future, if it comes, at least that fund can be utilized, and the NRIs will not face the situation this time. Yes, Dr. C.V. Anand Bose was there, you all were there, so the things can be managed, but still so many people have lost their jobs and they are helpless today, and they are, because there are lots of things to move even in the government, even if they want to do it. So for that purpose, are you planning to do such type of emergency things, contingency fund?
Yes, sir, it's a very good question and a suggestion as well. Actually, during the flood in Kerala and earlier the things happened in Gujarat also. Right now, the global situation for the corona, we were suffering, and we were getting some support from the business people in the UAE or the expatriates. So we are getting some support locally. But unfortunately, we are not getting that much support from, the government has arranged a Vande Bharat flight. That's very good. The same moment, we as Indian Association and other organizations like the KMC and all other organizations were arranging charter flight also. We were getting discounts and everything, food kits and everything. But we need a special support from the governments. Governments, I mean the central government and state government. Yeah, because I'll tell you one thing. When I was arranging the chartered flight, I was sending a lot of letters to each and every states in India. Indian Association stands for Indians only. So not only for the Keralites or anything. So I was sending, but half of the states never replied till now. After 1 year, they have not replied. Some of them acted very quickly. I don't want to mention the names on. So, and same moment, as earlier we were saying about the fees or rental issues or credit card issues, etc., etc. We were not getting that much support from the consulate also because they cannot. I know that. So what we need is we need a very special funding system for these type of emergency critical situation to support the expatriates. See, we have limitations. Now I have 4 schools under me, under Indian Association Sharjah. About 16,000 students are studying. Our fees are the lowest in the Gulf, and we are giving the high quality education. So the 50% of the parents are, below poverty. Maybe I can say, I don't want to say that, but still they are suffering. So they cannot pay the fees fully. So in this case, I cannot raise the funds from our side. Only the support of the business people and the support of the government. The state government has to support, and the central government also. Then definitely we can do a miracle. I assure you that.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Johnson. Now, my last goes to Dr. Anand Bose. Dr. Anand Bose, you have heard what Dr. Johnson has mentioned and Mr. Sajeev had mentioned. Do you think it is practical if such type of funds, with the active supports from the organizations like theirs and from NRIs, they will put the funds, maybe 1/3 or 50% or 2/3, whatsoever, and the balance the government will put, and whatsoever the interest are acquiring, that will be used for the welfare of the NRIs. And whenever such type of emergency comes in future, that funds can be utilized. What you say about this, or anything else you would like to add on it? 1 minute time only, please. Thank you. Please unmute. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, actually, I would say a contributory corpus of funds, which may be called a benefit fund or a risk fund or whatever it is. It's an idea which is very practical. And if the initiative comes from the Pravasis themselves, there is no reason why the state governments and the central government should not be a party to that. I think it's a good idea, bright idea, practical idea to meet exigencies like this. The nitty-gritties of it are to be worked out. But I think as a suggestion, this is certainly welcome. And the very little bit which I can perhaps do is to consolidate the important suggestions which came up during these discussions and bring it to the authorities for appropriate action, which will certainly be done. And many of the recommendations now before the government of India is also a result of the discussions held in global TV. I am thankful to the participants. And if there are any points which they feel they could not present here, kindly give it either to Goel or directly to me. We will see that whatever are practical will be brought to the notice of the competent authority for further action. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be with the distinguished panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bose, for giving your views. Viewers, you have seen how the NRIs have suffered, and the same NRIs whom we used to put, whenever they used to come to India, we used to treat them very, very with a red carpet, whatnot. When the crisis came, we, the civil society, we failed to raise up. This is not the fault of the government. This is not the fault of NRIs. It's the fault of us. We have to see, after all, although we all suffered, but we have to understand they were the persons who have contributed lots of things for our society, for our GDP, for our economy. And today, when they face crisis, we must also contribute to them. And the only thing is, even if we cannot contribute financially, at least we must give them some opportunities, whether it's in the form of job opportunities or whatnot. After all, they are very skilled. Their skills are far better because they have worked in multinationals, they have lots of exposure. And whatsoever help we can give, and at least one request to all medical hospitals or clinics, don't try to extort the money in the name of RT-PCR test, at least from NRIs, not from, my opinion, from anyone, but at least from NRIs. Thank you very much, Dr. C.V. Anand Bose. Thank you very much, Dr. Butur Rahman. Thank you very much, Dr. E.P. Johnson. Thank you very much, Mr. Sajeev. Thank you very much, Ms. Vinita. And thank you all the viewers. And I'm sure today's program is quite enlightening. And with the assurance from Dr. Bose, if anything, any suggestions which our NRI friends feel that they want to give, they can send either to the Global TV, V4 News, or to Dr. Bose directly, or to me, whomsoever they want to do, so that at least we will see to it that NRIs will not suffer and they will be a part and they will remain the part of a country, great country. Thank you very much. And thank you all the viewers for watching our show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.